radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network.
Good evening, Fade to Black. How you doing? Today is Thursday, December 19th, 2024. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. And tonight, we are celebrating our 11th anniversary. That's right, 11 years in the can. And I guess technically during the show, we are starting our 12th year, right? Is that how it works? I don't know how the math works. Ask Renee. Apparently she knows. Yeah, and it's amazing. It's humbling. It's all of that. And so tonight is a very special night. And this is what we are doing. I'm spending it with all of you. All right. So we've got our AMA AJA that we do every single month. And it happens to fall on tonight, our anniversary. And throughout the night tonight, we will have a bunch of very special surprise guests stopping by and just to help us celebrate and make all of this extra special. All right, extra special for you, extra special for me, and all of that stuff. But yeah, here we go. And it's going to be a long night, answering questions and stuff. And I'll probably get around to some of the specifics and things about the years gone past and everything else, and certainly look into the future. We had an amazing week this week and a bunch of amazing guests and just winding everything down to tonight. It was just incredible. And today, doing the news, I had something in my throat again, twice now, 2 weeks in a row. And which makes it all special. It just makes everything special, makes it unique because this is a live show. Probably over the years, I have done just a handful, maybe 3 or 4 shows that were taped because the guests that we had at that time couldn't do the live show. They had to do a tape for whatever reason. And I stopped doing that completely. If a guest cannot come on live, don't do the show. Just don't do it. That's okay. And I understand time changes or time zones and stuff or life and family. I get that. But this show is live. Everything that happens live. I don't edit stuff out. No, it just doesn't work that way. This is a live show. And I enjoy the adrenaline rush of doing something live. When I tape or when I do anything else, and I've done a few tape things that I've broadcast live, and you can hear it. You can hear it in my voice. I sound like I'm on NPR. So how are you doing? The edge is gone. This is a live show. Tonight we are live. Your AMA questions, post them live in the chat. That's all you've got to do. And when you do that, please, for the love of the baby Jesus, because it is the holiday season. Next week is Christmas. Put your questions in all caps. It really helps me out. Now, we've got a very, very busy night tonight, so I'm going to skip the long intro. We're going to get straight to the show. I'm debating, you know what? I have to do this out of respect. I will run a commercial. Plus I have guests, that are coming into as well. So the surprise guest. The commercial will help break things up so I can set things up. All right. And so with that, it's an AMA AJA 11th anniversary special event. I cannot believe it. We are now 11 years on the air, heading into year number 12. We are in year number 12. That's insane to me. Insane. All right. It's an AMA. Before I bring in my first surprise guest, let's see if I can get that guest to look at me right now. Oh, yeah, they're paying attention. Oh, I even got the thumbs up. Okay, so surprise guest number one. You just stay right there. It's an AMA. It's my show. It's my anniversary celebration. All right, so let's get some questions in. First up, as expected, it is Renee. She's been with us forever, man. And thank you, Renee, for everything. And she always gets the first question because she is on top of her game. Jimmy, what is your favorite? I can read it over here. Jimmy, what is your favorite Trader Joe's holiday food? Mine is their pumpkin cheesecake. Okay. Closely followed by their pecan pie. Two good choices, Renee. Not mine, though. And that's easy. I love shopping at Trader Joe's, and the holiday season, when it rolls into Trader Joe's, it seems like half the store is replaced with holiday stuff. But they have two things that I wish they just had all year long. And but when it comes to this time of the year, I'm able to go in there and get them. Two things. Number one, I think they're called cranberry butter cookies. Insanity. They should have those all year long. So they're cranberry butter cookies. And then next, and I'm not kidding about this, it's their cranberry goat cheese log or loaf. And it's goat cheese rolled in cranberries. And man, on crackers, it's so good. So good. And I would eat that all year long. Sometimes throughout the year, they'll have a blueberry goat cheese log that I'll grab onto. And I think that's kind of seasonal too as well. But those are my two favorite Trader Joe's holiday foods. And that is a great question. That is a great question, Renee. Well done. Let's get to question number two. I want to get some questions in before I bring in my first guest. Let's see. This is from Bill. Bill is okay, here's my Peru trip food and drink question. Where was your best meal? Man, before I say something, like everyone, because all the food in Peru was good, probably at the restaurant that we always eat at Oyente Tambo. I posted pictures of it, and all the food is served on hot rocks. You have a hot rock plate. No, the salad is in a cold rock bowl. Your utensils come on a rock stand, and then it's on this thing, and everything says, oh, so good. And I had a filet mignon. You know what? Peru loves filet mignon. You can get filet mignon at every single restaurant there. So that was probably the best meal. I don't know the name of the place. The best coffee was the Lemur Poo Coffee Bar, which is at the top of a mountain. It's like at 14,000 feet, and I'm not exaggerating. And where they make this Lemur coffee, Lemur Poop coffee. And that espresso there was just incredible. Lemur Poop espresso. Yeah, it was pretty good. Now, again, the people of Peru love their coffee, so you can't get a bad cup of coffee in Peru. You really have to mess up to get bad coffee or bad food in Peru. What time is it? Okay, I got time. Let's see here. Next question from Woody Wood. How does it feel to be king, Jimmy? Today, I feel like a king. Yeah, I do. Feels pretty good. I woke up this morning I was thinking about this all week, and I literally spun around in bed and picked up my phone and just sent out the text to the guest for tonight. Bang, 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 bang. Well, one I did late last night, which is our first guest coming in, who didn't respond to me until this morning. But anyway, to have all of those guests text me back in like 90 seconds going, I'll see you tonight. That was pretty good. I mean, it makes that's what it's like to be the king. Absolutely. So with that, let's bring in for tonight. We're celebrating, and you call them special guests. I call everybody friends. That is with us tonight. And first up, the one and only Jason Quitt. Jason, brother,
congratulations.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much, man. I could not have a celebration without you. And you know this.
And I do apologize. I think you texted me around 2 a.m.
I did.
Eastern time. So when I woke up, I texted you back.
Well, normally, see, this is the thing with that text last night. You're up late. So I was a test. It was a little bit of a test. And I thought, it's a 50-50 chance Jason's going to go, dude, what's up? And but she didn't. Normally we are texting and talking very late into the morning. So but yeah, I hit you at about 2 a.m. It was 11 o'clock my time, 2 a.m. your time. But you texted me first this morning. You were first in. Happy holidays, man. And everything good in your world?
Everything's great. It's starting to get very cold here. As you know, you lived close to here in the past, and already starting to shovel, growing my beard out. it's hibernation time in Canada.
Right. What do you make of all of this drone activity, the mystery drones, and have they made them? Have they made it north?
It's a really good question, and I've been watching it very closely. And right when I started this, I'm like, what are they doing over there? Because these drones, right away, I'm thinking it's they're searching for something. What have they lost? What's going on? Is this kind of like a drill, a practice that they're going through? So it seems like, to me, it was very much like a military type operation from the beginning. And to kind of place it into this kind of UFO field. And I've been watching Twitter and all these things and posting pictures that are clearly conventional aircraft or clearly conventional or non-conventional drones, but still man-made technology. It's crazy how this story has spread and all the fear behind it as well.
Yeah. Last night after the show here in Palmdale, I was cooking dinner, and I have a neighborhood watch app, right, with everybody in my neighborhood here. I don't think there's any houses in this neighborhood. It's about, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 streets that surround this golf course, right? And I think every house is on it. And it's good because all we are doing is looking for everybody's missing dogs, right? That's usually what the neighborhood app, our dog got out. Has anybody seen my dog? And or cats or whatever. And so it goes off last night. Normally I pay attention to it, but sometimes I'll just ignore it because it's just somebody's missing bird. And I looked down and it said 20 drones over the golf course. Wow. I was like, what? And I'm cooking, man. I mean, I've got a big chunk of beef that's getting ready to go in an iron skillet where I've got butter at the right temperature, and I got to cook. I can't run outside and look at these drones. Or do I? Do I just what do I do? So and then it just kept going off. Ding, 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 ding. everybody's seeing these drones outside of the house. It's like Palmdale, right? Well, if it's like that here, it's got to be going off like that, all around the country. Everybody's looking up. Everybody is tripping out. And I'm kind of happy in a weird way that they are. That finally people have a reason to look to the skies and see something that maybe they haven't seen before or noticed in the past.
The skies here are very cloudy and it's snowing. And if you're outside, we got our hats on or hoods on, and we're just running to the car, to the store, and getting back into our houses. So unfortunately here, it's a little different, I would say. And I do have a neighborhood watch thing that I watch every single day, and no one's mentioned anything yet of drones.
Well, you know who I feel bad for? Seriously.
What's that?
Santa Claus. They're going to be shooting at him, dude. They're going to be shooting at Santa on Christmas Eve. Think about that. Think about it. Santa's going to be like, oh, man, they think we're drones. So, yeah, that's who I feel bad for. I feel bad for Santa. Tonight we're celebrating. We're celebrating 11 years, man, going into year number 12. Do you remember your first show on Fade to Black?
I remember the year. And
okay.
I believe it was 2016 or 2017. Okay. So it's been a while. And I believe it was around the time when we went to Mount Adams for the first time.
Okay.
I think I met up with you in...
Well, no. You were on the show before then because we invited you there.
So okay. So then it was before 2017.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Okay. So probably 9 years ago.
Wow.
I wonder what we talked about.
It was definitely my first book with Bob Mitchell. So that's going way back. That's
I remember Bob Mitchell. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. He was a huge fan of yours, and he kept talking about you. It's like, everybody says, oh, you have to get on Coast to Coast. Bob Mitchell was, I need to get you on Jimmy's show. So he spoke very, very highly of you. And really liked your show. So that's how I got introduced to you originally.
Bob, who, yes, I had on the show many times. He was just great. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for that. Happy 11th anniversary, Fade to Black. Thank you for that, Stephen. Very cool. Really appreciate that. Bob was a great researcher. And Canadian, by the way. And so there's that part of it. But he was just an all-around great guy, very colorful, very knowledgeable. And you know what? I would classify him as, an experiencer too, as well. And somebody that was really about the community and service. Just a great guy. But he was a great guest and a great interview, and left this world way too early and way too soon. Just a great individual.
Yeah. So if he's the one who brought me into this world, he helped me write the first book, and he introduced me to everyone like yourself, and it was very very strange that just a couple months after we put out the book, unfortunately, he passed away. And so I feel like I've been doing all these shows and carrying on, with him, because he's the one who kind of put me here.
Right.
So no, it feels good. And to go back down memory lane and how we first introduced myself to your audience, I think that was really cool. It was all about out-of-body experiences and the shamanic world and time travel.
Yeah. I remember that. I do. You know what though? Thank you for bringing up Bob Mitchell though, and I know he's smiling right now. He deserves not only a lot of credit, but the continued recognition. And thank you for bringing that up and celebrating with us tonight. And so with that, tonight we're doing an AMA, Ask Me Anything. And so the audience is popping in questions. And so how timely is this one? Because you're on the show and our first guest. And the question is this: have you ever been to Prince Edward Island in Canada? And where did you go if you have been to Canada? So we'll leave the second half of this question off. Prince Edward Island. I haven't been there. Have you been there?
Unfortunately, I haven't been out to the East Coast. I really do. I spend more time in Alberta and BC, but
Yes.
hopefully I will get to that end of Canada.
What's special about Prince Edward Island? Is some Illuminati action going on there? What?
From what I know, it's actually quite beautiful. You're going to get you get the Atlantic Ocean. But I do have to go. I do have to go and learn a lot more about it.
Oh man, you're bailing out. So you don't know anything about Prince Edward Island, which
Canada is a big place.
It is a big place, but let me help you out with future interviews.
Yes.
Whenever you get a question that you don't know the answer to, right? Don't fake it. Don't fake it. Just go, dude, I've never been there. You know, people like Richard Dolan, he'll bullshit his way through anything, right? And you can't do that. You just go, I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the answer.
I'll say this. I'll say this, that like I'm in Ontario, and I went to Thunder Bay, Ontario a couple times this year.
Yep.
And Thunder Bay, Ontario is in Ontario, obviously, and I have to take a plane there. I can't drive there. That's how far away it is from here. It's almost,
let me. I'm gonna answer this question before I let you go really quick, because I love all things Canada, and I just got back from Canada. I spent a week up there and got to go to the Yukon and you know, and I went to just some amazing places. And I just enjoy the country. And I went up to the state line in the mountains there between Alaska and Canada, right? The state line. So on one side of the sign is the Canadian flag, right? Welcome to Canada. On the other side, it's you are leaving Alaska, or you know what I mean? It's the same sign, but it's different on both sides. And to stand up there on the edge of this cliff, the snow, the glaciers, and take pictures. It was just absolutely amazing. So I am going to say this. My favorite city in Canada, and I'm not here to offend people, is Montreal. Montreal is old. I mean, like old. It looks like another country. Okay, it's right next to the United States, man. You just drive across the border, but it feels like you're in Europe somewhere, and it's got a vibe. And of course, you know, everybody speaks French, and they have amazing croissants. But it's Montreal, man. I like Montreal. I like all the cities up there, but Montreal is pretty magical. Do you have a favorite part of Canada?
I really love Calgary. I love the mountains.
Yeah.
It's really nice to go out there. But to tell you the truth, there's a place in Ontario called Muskoka, and a lot of movies are filmed in Muskoka. It's cottage country, and I think it's probably one of the most beautiful places in the world in the summertime. It has just red granite coming out of lakes, beautiful trees, and you're back in nature. So it's one of my favorite places in the world is Muskoka. But I have a question for you, because I know this is Ask Me Anything.
Sure.
Now, you've been doing this for 11 years.
I have.
There's got to be a moment in the 11 years where you've had a guest that you will always remember that you've had this guest and you can't believe you got this guest. Who would that be?
Fuck. You know, okay. I'm gonna. The answer to that is a little bit different than you would think. I would say one of the one moment in this show that just kind of sticks out over the years because it was just so bizarrely strange was when I first started, I had Jason Martell as my guest, and I'm sitting there talking with Jason, and my phone lines were ringing, same phone number, 818 phone number. And it keeps ringing, and I keep hanging up on it or ignoring it and hanging up. It's the same number. I hadn't announced open lines. And this goes on for about an hour. And I was like, who is trying to call? So I said to Jason, I go, Jason, I got this number calling. Should I pick it up? And he goes, yeah, man, pick it up. So I picked it up. I said, hi, you're on Fade to Black. Who's calling? Jimmy, this is George Norrie. And I go, what? No, it's not. Jimmy, this is George. I'm getting ready to go on Coast to Coast and tonight's show, but I'm listening to you, man. And I go, this isn't George Norrie. And Jason goes, yes, it is. And George goes, hey, Jason. Hey, George, how you doing? And they're talking. And that moment, being caught off guard like that, and to have George call in and have him listening as a fan, right? Mm-hmm. Getting warmed up for Coast. He's listening to Fade to Black. He probably needed stuff to talk about. I say that in jest. I talked to George this morning, and he's such a good friend. Anyway, but yeah, it was just like this moment, which is crazy. And so, Jason, thank you for taking the time tonight and helping me make this night special. The Fadernauts love you, and every conversation we have is better than the last. So happy holidays to you and Monica, and thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you, and congratulations, really.
Jason Quitt, yeah. You're the absolute best. Thank you, brother. Jason Quitt, live from the Great White North and Canada. Love all things Canada, man. I do. And Jason has been a part of this show nearly since the beginning, as he just said. 8 years, maybe even 9, 8 years. He has been a guest and a friend of this show. And so, like I said, tonight's an AMA. I'm hanging out with all of you Fadernauts, but I've also got a bunch of special surprise guests that are going to be coming in tonight. My next guest is ready and is in the green room. But first, let me get to one more question, and then we will say hello to the next surprise guest. I'm saying that so they can get ready, right? You like how I do that? That's how I do that. What is it like working and traveling? It must take a lot out of you. Your life seems busy, fun, but always exhausting. Actually, that's a very good point. I can rest and worry about being exhausted later. Right now, life is exciting. I'm living my best life. I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I'm in the middle of bliss. I'm happy. I get to do this show every single night and the other stuff that I have the opportunity to do. And it's an honor and a privilege. And that's it. No, I'm never tired. I just got back from Peru. I spent 3 weeks in Peru climbing mountains every single day. This old ass broken down body, 13,000 feet, 14,000 feet, stairs, hiking this, mountaintops, top of Machu Picchu, doing this 15,000 feet, the highest freeway in the world. No oxygen tanks, just and thinking to myself, I was never tired. No, I can sleep on the plane on the way home, and I can worry about this later. There is no spot in this world to complain. Just like this next guest who has been with me since the absolute very, very beginning, and there's no way that I could celebrate another anniversary of Fade to Black without having Richard Bleepin Dolan here. Richard, how you doing, my man?
Hey, Jimmy. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you just fine.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Congratulations on 11 years.
Man, couldn't do it without you, brother. You know that.
Well, it's been a nice ride. I enjoyed listening to you and Jason Quitt just now. Tracy got all excited about hearing about Muskogee.
Yeah.
She's got, I think every Canadian in Ontario has got like something going on in Muskogee.
Yeah, for sure. Is it strange to be here 11 years after, not only your first broadcast and, of course, how we met, which was a crazy night. If you remember the tree incident, we don't need to relive that. But
I remember it well.
yes, I know that should have it should have knocked the memory out of you, actually. But when you look back at all of that and everything that the world has gone through, and you and I, and research and everything, did you ever think about that many years ago, that tonight we would be on not only celebrating so many years, but going through this crazy UFO, UAP, Washington legislation, Department of Defense, drone mystery, crazy, just insanity, man. Did you see all of this coming?
I don't know. Back then, I think a lot of the folks in our community wondered about this. Like I wasn't the only one thinking we can't be spinning our wheels forever. There's got to be something that's going to make a breakthrough. Something will happen. Will there be an insider who, wants to give up the goods and things like this? But I used to think about how would disclosure happen. I wrote a book on it, but it's very hard to foresee all of the tangible things that actually have happened and how they've all played out. And no, I don't think so. And I'll be honest with you. I was very surprised when things started to change after 2017. I don't know if anyone was expecting that. I don't think you were. I definitely wasn't. So I think it was a big surprise.
That's such a good point for you and I to talk about with this audience, that we certainly, you and I have made a lot over the years about our conversations that we've had, and some of them privately have been very colorful, and we have always been very honest with each other. And one of the things, so in the interest of transparency, I'll just let the audience know that Richard and I were always concerned about the community and the world, and how they would handle it if things, and we're talking about conversations that happened way before 2017. And I feel that you and I, others too, we're not the only ones, but it was always putting the community first and thinking about how the world would react to it. And so I'll say that I'm a little surprised about the reaction that we are going through. That's the part that I really didn't expect.
So what
Richard,
surprises you? You tell me yours, and I'll tell you mine.
Right, mine.
What surprises you?
The lack of freaking out. The lack of freaking out. Right. That's the Vatican didn't freak out. Right. Religions didn't freak out. Wall Street hasn't lost their mind. The general public, to have the majority of people go, universe is a big place. Of course, there's got to be something going on. It's like, wait. You weren't supposed to say that.
Okay.
And I just lost the internet. Okay, the internet came back. That was weird.
No, I didn't lose you. You were on the whole time.
No, my screens went to spinning things.
Oh.
Okay, but we're still live, right? I'm looking over here. We're live over there. I better check the chat room. Are we live? Yeah, I got thumbs up. Yeah.
I never lost you. I never lost connection with you.
So what's your take?
My take is, like I was saying, I remember so many conversations with other researchers, a lot of attendees to conferences, and just thinking, wouldn't it be great if someone on the inside were to spill it? And then after 2017, that's exactly what happened. And like half the community or more just ended up throwing rotten tomatoes at these people, which they've not stopped doing ever since. And then saying it's an op, everything's disinformation. Like what? It's a bit discouraging to me. I mean, just because someone has a government background is not a good reason to just say, "Oh, I'm not going to believe anything you say." I mean, that to me, that's just ridiculous.
That
It
is
comes down to the information, not the message, not the messengers. The number one thing is what this person's saying true or not true, and all of that. And I don't know. I mean, I think I don't agree probably with all the politics of people like Chris Mellon or Lou Elizondo. I'm sure that I have major disagreements with a lot of things, but without those two guys, let's be honest, where would this community be today? It would be spinning its wheels just the way it was right up until 2017.
Okay.
With no media coverage, none of this would have happened.
That's a great, okay. I want your take on this because I agree with you. And I don't like agreeing with Richard. I'd rather debate something, but anyway.
We'll find things to disagree about.
Well, yeah. See, that's the fun. I don't care what side somebody is on, what position. I just like taking the opposite position just for sport, right? I said something I had James Fox on, and the night or right before his movie premiered, and I made a comment at the end, towards the end of the show, a comment that I've said before, but I said it to James, and he took it like I thought he would take it. He was shocked, but this is what I said. And I was talking specifically about Hal Puthoff. Okay. I said, nobody is going to jail over UFOs. No NDA on this issue is binding. There is they will not happen. And James goes, I said, no, let me explain why. If somebody goes to jail over disclosing UFOs and the ET issue, then everything the government has said has been a lie. And they can't have that position. Therefore, nobody's going to jail. There is not going to be a court case over this issue. The defense in a court case like that would have all of the evidence brought out in public, and that ain't going to happen either.
Well, I find a way. There is a way I can disagree with you.
But let me. So, do you understand why I am saying? And so now, and then I clarified my position on this. I said that doesn't mean that somebody that hasn't come forward isn't getting pressure or getting threats behind the scenes. What I am saying is, if Hal Puthoff came forward and said something, or somebody else said something, or under testimony, or produces documents and they go public, that's it. They are the safest person in the world. There is no way anybody on this planet would allow somebody like that to go to jail. It just wouldn't happen. And I'm pretty confident in that position. Is that radical or
there's a lot of what you say there that's really right on. I mean, a guy like Hal Puthoff, he's in his mid 80s, I guess. I don't know his exact age.
I think he's 85, actually.
Yeah, he's about 85, and he obviously knows a great deal. Does he know everything? I've wondered myself, like, does he know absolutely everything? Or is he just knocking at the innermost sanctum door, wanting to get that last piece? I could imagine that too. And I don't really know the answer, but he certainly knows enough to get into trouble. And he said so. In fact, on James's great film, The Phenomenon, he did a really good interview with Hal.
You mean the program? The
program. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which Tracy and I just watched the other night. It's really good.
Did you see me? Did you see me
at the very end, sir? Yeah.
Yeah. Was that cool?
I love
it. James threw me a bone.
Threw you right in there. It was nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
But what Hal was saying was, he was saying people will go to jail. He was very upfront about that. So he would disagree with you. I remember reading Dan Sherman's really interesting book, Above Black. And I'm going to just say I'm a believer in Dan Sherman. I believe that he's a truth teller. And one thing he said is that the way that the programs are, it's like you're an ET in an ET program, but you are also that is enveloped in a non-ET related program that is the thing that will get you into trouble. So he said it was very difficult if you're going to disclose anything about UFO, ET reality, and that kind of thing. He claimed in his book that he was able to thread that needle and to discuss the ET stuff without discussing the other stuff he was involved in. But in his opinion, it's very difficult to do. And I could believe that. That could make a lot of sense to me.
Well,
you're totally muted.
If you look at, here's another point that I think should be made. I'm muted.
Well, I thought you were.
Now, let me
I'm
see
hearing you
here.
now. There seemed like a bit of a delay.
Muted. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
You know, it's let's hope we're not having a solar flare, or if the man is not interrupting what we're doing on the show. But anyway, is this when what's his name, Moskowitz, at the hearing on the House subcommittee, Jared Moskowitz, yeah, when he said, and it was such a great point, he asked Lou Elizondo, he goes, "Hey man, so you signed an NDA that says you can't talk about retrieved craft retrievals?" "Yes." "Where is this document?" I don't have it." "Where is it?" "It's in a skiff." Jared, in a skiff? Since when is a skiff a vault for signed documents? But anyway, Moskowitz goes, "Look, man, I'm an attorney. So I'm going to ask you, did you have an attorney present when you signed it?" No. And I know where Jared was going with that. All right. This is where Jared was going. That document, Richard, if it says in there that he cannot talk about crash retrievals specifically, that is the most damning piece of evidence. That's better than video. That's better than an alien body. That is something that you bring that to the Intelligence Committee. You bring that to the House. You bring that to the Senate, and you go, "See this? It says I can't talk about crash retrievals. I signed it with the threat of..." So crash retrievals are real? Bring that document. What is stopping anybody from showing an NDA publicly?
Well, it was what Quitt said in the program. It's like he said,
the NDA itself, the NDA. You're not talking about it, but you signed a document that says you can't talk about it.
Do you think it would be totally? Do you think it would be legal to present the NDA? What do you think the odds are that in the language in the NDA, this shall also not be discussed or brought into a public forum? I mean,
right now that wouldn't be legal. There'd be no way. So then the document doesn't exist.
You think that would be a problem for these people? That it's
well,
not
they would have to bring
opinion.
they would have to bring that NDA as evidence. The government, the prosecution. And that would have to be admitted into evidence. He signed this.
Well, yes, but it doesn't have to be made public. I mean, all kinds of cases are adjudicated without any of the information even being revealed. In fact, sometimes the information can be concealed to the other party.
That's right, but it's
Back
all
in
leaked.
the 70s and 80s, UFO
leaked.
researchers were trying to get certain documents declassified from the NSA. And not only were they not able to do that, they were not able to get the reasons the NSA gave the judge.
Right.
Those reasons were classified, and the plaintiffs for the UFO disclosure side of it were not able to even read that. That was between the NSA and the judge.
Right.
So that was 40 plus years ago.
I get all of that. But today it's a different kind of party. And when you are sitting in front of somebody like Jared Moskowitz, whose wheels are turning, he's an attorney, man, and you can see it spinning. Where is the document? Do you have a copy of the document? And if you are going to say that you signed an NDA that specifically says you cannot talk about crash retrievals, where's the document and do you have it? And don't and hiding behind, that's the other point that I just continually make. You can't say that the document is hidden or it's there. It's always the case, isn't it? Everything is just the UFO world. It's always one step away from you. It's always
what we're seeing, these hearings have brought out something that should be quite obvious to everyone listening. If anyone who's a fade or not would know that we have a fiction of a republic. It's, we tell ourselves these fairy tales about how our government actually is, but the reality is totally different. And we are seeing this fiction of a democratic republic running up against the actual reality, which is, call it what you will, but it's not that. And so the system is an oligarchy, is it an authoritarian system? Is it a Soviet style, modern 21st century version of that? Yeah, all of those things. But it's
one step further,
like to tell ourselves.
Run by private corporations who wield more power than Washington does. Yeah. It's a pretty scary position. Now
that's the actual system, and we don't have a good name for it. We don't really know what to call this system. What do you really call it?
I don't have a name for it.
No,
I call it crazy. I call it nuts for sure.
But
Richard,
you're onto something. I want to just say you are onto something. Like, it is a different situation now. Like, we've got members of Congress for the first time. You've got a kind of a group of them, and they seem to give a crap about this. Like, they care. And but the real question is, how much power do they have to move this forward? I don't think they think they have that much power, to be honest. I don't think they've got any illusions about their ability to move this forward very much. But they haven't given up. There's probably going to be more hearings, and I think there's going to be a little more forward action. So we'll see. I mean, you've got the immovable object against the irresistible force. I mean, for real. And I don't know how this one's going to play out. Yeah,
and we're in the middle of it with these drones, and so last night, I mean, it's never boring in our world, is it? It's just never boring, man.
No.
So last night after Fade to Black, I was cooking dinner. A show ends at 9 my time, right? It's midnight your time. 9, and I'm in the kitchen cooking, and my neighborhood watch app starts pinging on my phone, right, for my neighborhood here. And ding, 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 ding. And I'm cooking, and I just kind of glance down, and this is my neighborhood watch app. There's like 80 homes, 80 people in this app. And we're there by address only. And just so you know, we got on this app because letters were sent out from a neighbor that built, and did everything, manages it, to the addresses to everybody in the neighborhood. And then we got a special letter, and you can opt in and do all of that. So anyway,
very cool. That's really nice.
Yeah. And so anyway, the app works great, and it's dinging. And I glance down as I'm cooking. I'm at the stove, man. I'm like this, and I just glance down, and it says 20 drones are over the golf course. What? Dude, the golf course touches my house. Okay. And what? Okay, so I'm going to pull up. This is what I posted today. You ready?
Yeah.
Check this out. Some things, my friend, you just can't make up. So this is what I posted. These are a bunch of clips from the app. All right. And it says here, first post at 9:32 p.m. Okay. Let me zoom in on this for you. Neighbor 34 says, I saw them, Plant 42, Air Force Plant 42, right? And Edwards Air Force Base, can't believe they don't tell us. Seeing drones over here at Rancho Vista Golf Course also. Neighbor 30, I see them too. Neighbor 34, I saw them, Plant 42. Neighbor 17, I'm on P8, that's the street. We're headed down P8 to the west. About 4 hovered above the summer wind track for an hour. Neighbor 9, I see them too. One passed right near our house. This took a while to publish. They started heading west of 20th Street. I'm at 30th Street now for the most part. Neighbor 1 New Jersey have the same issue 3 days ago. Neighbor 24, one literally hovered 300 feet above my house. Neighbor 12, seeing drones over here at Rancho Vista Golf Course. Neighbor 15, saw them last night as well.
Are you butted up against Plant 42?
Yeah, I'm about a mile away.
Well,
Yeah,
I'm guessing that's where they were launched from, but wouldn't you think that?
I don't know. Just look outside again, and now there are only about 5 around my house. I think most of them are heading west. Now, dude, it's like, it's one thing if it's New Jersey or even Vandenberg, but above my house, Richard, my house.
It's really crazy.
Yeah.
Were they definitely drones? I'm assuming they were actually drones sometimes. I don't really know what these things are.
Here's the take on that. And that is a great question. That's because you're Richard fucking Dolan. That is a great question, man. Is this, my neighbors all work there. They all work at Air Force Plant 42. They all work at Lockheed. They all work at Northrop Grumman. They all work at NASA.
So what are they saying?
Edward. They know the difference. Richard,
so are they saying these are not drones? What are they?
My neighbors know better than to talk about what is being tested in the skies. It's all secret shit, and they're all involved in these programs.
You're
so
saying
they should know better, is what I'm saying.
If they're talking about it, then your assumption is it's not from there.
Dude, I am tripping. I am tripping.
We'd love to get some descriptions of these things. I've been bitching and moaning about these reports. One of the things I like to complain about is, like, with any real flap of sightings that I'm used to researching in history, I'm used to looking at specific cases. This one, 7:42 p.m. over this location. It lasted for 15 minutes. The object did this, and then it did that, and then it took off. So I have a complete sighting, start to finish, and there's almost none of that being reported in this massive. I mean, there's thousands of these things apparently being recorded. Federal agencies just the other day said they looked into 5,000 sightings. Okay, well, great. So can we read like 3 of them?
Yeah, exactly.
There's just no details of any of these, so it's hard to know.
Right. Do you remember? Okay, let me refresh your memory. Do you remember a couple of months ago you were on the show and I told you about the drone being tested above my house with the 3 lights?
Oh yeah.
You remember that? And I told you,
right.
and I watched it zigzag and do its thing. I watched this thing for 20 or 30 minutes and it flew right over. It was dead silent, no prop noise, no nothing. It wasn't high, and it flew right above me. And I told you it had 3 strobing white lights on it. And I looked right at it, and then it went back and did its thing and then came back. Did I take video? No. I'm looking at something being tested above Lockheed. I'm not going to be the dude that's going to blow the cover on something like that and get in trouble. No.
It's worth pointing out, there's a long history. Long before we had unmanned drones going back many decades, there were still UFO sightings. And there were still UFO sightings over sensitive areas that were not supposed to have those sightings there. And this goes back in every decade, the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s. And they were good in the 70s. And so this is not new in that sense. And also, I would just state, in the past, when you look at the previous sighting waves, I'm not saying that no military tests military tests never cause UFO sightings. I know that's happened, but to cause waves of sightings where you've got many people reporting, I don't really think so. I don't believe that, in my opinion, it's ever really been demonstrated that any major wave of sightings were actually caused by the military. I mean, if it happened, we do not know about it. I'm talking the 1947 wave. I'm talking the 1952 wave of sightings, 1957.
Right.
And in the mid 60s and all throughout. If they were actually ever caused by the military, we do not know this. And there's also, you'd have to make a pretty good case because the case just isn't there. So if this is a clandestine military thing, then arguably it's breaking a pattern. And I'm not saying this isn't military, because I think a lot of it is probably that, but is that what all of it is? I mean, I've seen some of the videos and it's hard really to know what I'm looking at. Are these confirmed videos? Are off someone's TikTok account? I mean, who the hell knows where these things come from now? It's very difficult. but some of them do not look like drones at all. to me.
Now, what do you think that today's drone restrictions that the FAA announced, right? They've got 22 locations that they're geofencing and no drone activity there over 400 feet in altitude. You can still fly a little mini drone up to 400 feet, but they picked 22 locations to do this. Infrastructure areas and areas that they deem locations sensitive. Do you think we'll see a decrease in drone activity? Is this a way for the government to save face in all of this silence that they're actually doing something? Or are they trying to see who is flying these drones? And the FAA technically should know exactly who is flying these drones because there's certification and software on all of those drones that gives the ID away of your location and who was flying and what type of craft is being flown. All of that is part of the FAA software and certification program. But yet they're saying that they don't know who was flying them.
Well, you're bringing up a lot of interesting points. I mean, first of all, if this is a clandestine op, it's one that's really making them look very bad, embarrassingly bad. I mean, you can't take a drone down with electronic countermeasures at all.
Exactly.
I mean, the Russians and Ukrainians are doing this every day.
Yep.
With drones, like they do ECM all the time. And is America just at that baby steps level that they can't do ECM to a single one of these drones to take it down? I can't believe that they're that bad. It could very well be America is more of a paper tiger than we're willing to think. I tend to think that that's actually true. But to think that they're utterly incompetent, utterly clueless, who really believes that? As far as
you know who believes that is Burchett and Jimenez, right? They came out of that classified briefing the other night, 2 nights ago, and they went public and said, "You know what? I'm going to just tell you." And that
they don't know the right?
That briefing was with the FBI, the CIA, Department of Homeland Security, and the Department of Defense. And Burchett and Jimenez said, "You know what? Our government doesn't know dick."
It's really possible. It is possible. Like,
it's crazy. Isn't
we
it?
tend to think they're omniscient and they're all knowing, and 800-900 billion a year, whatever the hell it is. It's like, can I get my money back?
Yeah, I know. Right. Hey, Richard, listen, thank you for taking the time tonight, man. And happy holidays to you and Tracy. And you've been with me since the very beginning, man. And you've made all of this not only worth it, but very, very special. So thank you for being a friend. Man, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Later.
Richard Dolan, everybody. Richard Dolan right there. Thank you, Richard. And continuing the celebration, this is the thing tonight is our thank you, Richard. You're the absolute best. Thank you, brother. 11 years on the air, moving into my 12th year. And I should say our, because it's a team here, moving into our 12th year. And tonight is an AMA as well. And hanging out with all of you. And let's see if I can answer one quick question before I bring in my next surprise guest, who is now waiting in the green room. It's a surprise, so I'll announce that in just a second. Jimmy, what is your favorite Clint Eastwood movie? My favorite Clint Eastwood movie? Oh, man. What was, man, see, my favorite Clint Eastwood. What was the movie? My next guest will know this. Clint Eastwood, and they're looking for the money, and he's driving that white Cadillac Eldorado convertible, and it's with is it Beau Bridges? Is it Beau Bridges? What is that movie called? Oh man. And I almost gave it away with saying Beau Bridges dies in the end. Oh, what was that? I can't remember. I love that movie though. I just can't, this is live radio. I can't remember everything. Let's see. One more question. If I don't pull up a question really, really fast, then, oh man, look at all these questions. Have you changed? How have you changed with this Fade to Black experience over the last 10 years? I've become smarter. And I will say this, having the ability to hang out with guests for 2 or 3 hours a night and not be on the internet, not looking at a cell phone, and just doing an old-fashioned thing called engaging in conversation, which is something that we don't do anymore. Put your cell phone down and hang out with somebody for 2 or 3 hours a night for 10, 12 years. You will be smarter. And I do that with guests and friends like this one right here, who I'm about to bring on. Young man. Yeah, there you okay. Smile. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, because it is Whitley Strieber, everybody. Whitley, how you doing? Happy holidays.
And congratulations on 11 years behind the mic. If you had aged 3 years for every year you've been alive, you'd be almost as old as me.
Yeah, I think I have actually.
I'm
catching up to you.
I probably just announced that you were older than King Tut. I have no idea.
Yeah, I know. Right. Technically, and sometimes, Whitley, like that question that I just answered, I think it is one of the most honest things that I can say, where I'm not lying to myself or anybody else. I'm being brutally honest. I have done something that almost nobody on this planet has done, which is I put down the cell phone for 3 or 4 hours a night, and I just talk to somebody. I just sit and talk.
You only sleep 3 or 4 hours a night?
Yeah, like you.
No, I'm kidding.
Like you. Yeah, like you.
You're right. I was listening to you before we came on together. You're absolutely right. It frees you amazingly. You have no idea how actually bound you are to it until you put it down.
And the ability to learn from somebody else. And do you do that too as well? I like to talk to people that I don't necessarily agree with. As a matter of fact, I would rather talk to somebody that I don't agree with, right? Because now we're getting into uncharted territory, and you're always going to learn.
I don't know. I'm a very friendly guy by nature. I have loads of friends. I don't believe in fans. I believe in friends. And so I have a lot of friends. And, I never think about that. In other words, when somebody expresses an opinion to me, I'm always interested. I never compare it. I don't think, I disagree or agree. I don't get that far. I'm interested in the person, not necessarily in my reaction, whether I agree or disagree. I'm interested in what they have to say and what they think.
Well, you've been to dinner parties at my house. And,
yes, I have.
And so what I like to do,
not
and I know
you. I assumed I've been fired.
Yeah. You know what, though? You're invited to the next one for sure, Whitley, now that you've put me on the spot live on the air. Okay.
Deal. Long drive out there. I might or might not come.
Is this, Whitley, when I have a group of people, that I assemble, I make sure that everybody's just a little bit different.
That's why we all seemed crazy the last time I was at your house. I was wondering about that.
Wasn't that
that weird plane flew over from Edwards that night?
You remember that?
Really strange looking plane. Now they're swarming over the Northeast. That someone just put up a map on one of my many threads on my cell phone that I not only do not use, I use constantly and try to stay away from as long as I can. I make it about 20 minutes a day. Anyway, they're swarming over New Jersey tonight.
Yeah, for sure. They were swarming over here last night. I was just talking to Richard Dolan about that. And last night after the show, my neighborhood watch app started going off, and I posted about it today. But yeah, it was crazy. Southern California is not immune to this kind of stuff, but to have it like over Palmdale was a very strange feeling.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you that. I wanted to ask you something before I let this go. I remember this moment, and I hope that you remember this. So we were sitting out in my backyard, and we were having dinner. And we were cooking out, and I don't know, there was probably maybe 16 of us, right? And we were sitting around that big
Yeah, it was a
square
pretty
table.
big group, I recall.
Yeah, it was a big group. And somebody at the table says, it would be cool if maybe ET visited us tonight, an entity. And you said it might happen. And when you said that, the whole table went silent. Like, Amanda, Whitley, if anybody's going to, and it was kind of fun. Be careful what you wish for. It wasn't like there was a bunch of excitement. It was like, oh man, well, if it could happen.
Listen, it happens all the time. I was on a movie set out in New Mexico last week, and I can't say which movie set because it's confidential, but they sent me pictures of a black helicopter flying past the day after. And they said, we've never seen anything like this before. And then one of the actors apparently had an abduction experience the night I left too. So
really?
Yeah. But you know,
is that because of you? Do you think?
Well, I don't know
because of you, but certainly a catalyst. Maybe
it seems to kind of follow not just me, but a lot of abductees. It follows us. As to the abduction experience, I'm, A, an actor. B, I mean, not to say they're lying, but they are vividly imaginative people, and you just don't know. I mean, I'm not serious about that. I'm thinking maybe it happened and maybe it didn't. But the black helicopter was for real because they took pictures of it.
I just got back from Peru, and while we were down there, we were visiting Machu Picchu, and our native guide that is with us, his name is Wilco, and he's just amazing, and he does all of our tours with us. And a shaman, just knows his stuff. Really, really nice, funny guy, really cool. And so this picture was taken of Wilco standing at the edge of Machu Picchu with the clouds in the background. And so we're back on the bus, and the person that took the picture goes, oh man, look at this. And they hand me their phone, and they zoomed in behind Wilco's head in the clouds. I know this sounds crazy. There's a black flying saucer.
Oh my
God. Right there. And I'm looking, so I zoomed back out. And so here's his head. It's just a little black dot in the background, right? You would never know. You'd think it was a bird or something. But you zoom in, and man, with the dome on the top and the thing, and it's like coming out of the clouds, it's bizarre.
How amazing.
Yeah. Now I don't have this. I don't have this picture. I know how to get a hold of it, but you know what ended up happening is everybody on the bus, because everybody got to look at this picture. There was 30 of us on this bus. Everybody got out their phones and started looking at their pictures, looking in the background. Didn't really, there was some stuff there that was in it, but this one image, just for a second. Yeah, it's right there. I can't explain it. It was just one of those moments, and yeah, it could be something anomalous. I don't know, but it certainly looked like the classic dome on the top, black silhouette of something back there. It makes you wonder what's going on. And I'm asking everybody the same thing tonight. Whitley, we've known each other for a long time. I don't necessarily remember our first show, But do you remember our first conversation on the air?
Yeah, it was on. It was a Sunday night on Coast, and you were the guest. I mean, the host, and I was the guest. And you were you doing? Was it Saturday night you were doing then at the beginning?
I was doing Friday, Saturday, and one Sunday a month. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so
well,
it was probably a Saturday night. Yeah.
It could have been a Saturday night, but in any case, that was where we started. And it was a good show. I thought you had a great radio voice, and you had some great questions. I enjoyed it.
The phenomena, when I say the phenomena, I mean it's like all encompassing, is not what it used to be. It's not, doesn't have the perceived thing that it used to have. And I'm not even sure, but what I am trying to say, except that it seemed simpler back in the day, right? It was more of a
much simpler.
What's
much
that?
Simpler for me. Yeah. I was called a complete asshole, and I was arguing that was not true. That was basically my life. And now it's much more complicated because for two reasons. First, there are a lot of close encounter witnesses that are in very deep contact, and a lot of us. I am still very much in contact, and it is deep. And there are many. There's just not a lot of bullying going on anymore. Very occasionally you get someone, but not often. And that was not true back in those days. Back in those days, every other show I did, I was being snickered at.
And so was everybody else.
Absolutely. I wasn't alone by any means.
No. The point being that was the method of operation.
Right.
It was to take a crack at somebody's personality, at their background, personal attack, their families, their mental issues, make stuff up, ridicule. And that was the way that not only the public, but the government too. That's the way they dealt with it.
That's right. Well, the government, there was and probably still is, some kind of social control mechanism inside the government that is very skilled at spinning things. And it's interesting that the spin on the drones is sort of broken down. You remember? Did you hear that conference of the Pentagon this morning? I mean, get a life. They're snickering about Santa Claus.
Oh, I did see that. Yes.
Morons. Yeah. I mean, God, we pay for this. I mean, I can't believe it. It was just, it was so casually insulting the public because he has no one to answer to. The people don't matter.
Do you feel
soldiers who don't live in the Pentagon, who've got to go up there in those planes and stuff, they might have to give their lives over this? Come on, guy. I mean, it's a serious business. When there's something unknown flying around in your sky, you don't make jokes.
What's your best guess for the apparent lack of knowledge about what's going on? There's no communication to the public, and Tim Burchett and Jimenez out of Florida, Tim Burchett's from Tennessee, after their classified briefing 2 nights ago on the Hill, they came out of that, and that classified hearing was with the CIA, the FBI, the Department of Defense, and the Department of Homeland Security. And they came out of that classified briefing saying that nobody knows anything. Our government knows nothing. And Tim Burchett said, I think they're lying about it, but they certainly don't have a grip about what is going on. What do you make of that?
And simply cut to the truth. It's not that they don't know anything. It's they can't do anything. And they have to say, if they're going to tell the truth, this is a complete unknown. We don't know where they're from. We cannot track them back to their place of origin. And therefore, we can't say who they are, but we can say this. We can't do a darn thing about them. We can't do anything.
Is that scarier than revealing the truth about Atlantis? Is that scarier than revealing the truth about who built the pyramids? Is that scarier than saying the baby Jesus wasn't real? You know, what do we do with all of this?
Well, first of all, if they're pissed off at you, it's going to be scary.
Right, right.
If they're not pissed off at you, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But I think they might be pissed off at the military and the government in a lot of different ways. So when the new president said the other day, I saw him saying, "I'm not going to be spending the night at my golf club in Bedminster." I thought to myself, yeah, I wouldn't be spending the night there either. And, he's put himself in the position. He said, I'm going to basically, he did a Jimmy Carter in a different way. Jimmy Carter went into office saying, I'm going to tell the truth about all this stuff, and then clammed up and never said another word. Trump just said he's going to tell the truth. He's going to find out what's going on, and he's going to tell us the truth. Maybe he will. The last time he was in office in 2019, in 2020, there were drones flying around all over Nebraska and northern Colorado, and to an extent in some of the other states up there. And there was never an effort made to really say anything about it publicly.
And that story died on the vine.
Because getting back to what I just talked about social engineering professionals, they took the air out of the story and just let it go flat. They know how to do that. I mean, do you really seriously think they're not into the media, like the big general media, the big media? I call it the captive media. Of course, they're into it. They're in the New York Times. They're in CBS, NBC, ABC. Fox, probably to a lesser extent. They're in there. The government's in there. The people in the working there might not know it, but it's like there's likely to be people reporting back to hidden contacts inside the government and discussing how they're going to spin the editorial in these companies. And the companies have no idea. They're completely innocent. There's no editor at the New York Times saying, okay, now we got to find a couple of other retired CIA officers to bring in here so we have better communications. That's not happening. But what is happening is there are people working in these companies who listen to, in my opinion, people within the government and then spin the editorial as best they can.
I did a bunch of, and I'm continuing to, I did a bunch of media interviews this week about the drones who reached out and wanted my opinions on about what was going on. And one thing struck me with all of these journalists, all from the big media companies, right? Wanted to know my thoughts on the drones and the FAA and what people are seeing, and is there a military connection and all the obvious stuff. But every one of them, Whitley, well, they know who I am for sure, but every one of them also had an ET, UAP, UFO component connection question about this. And I thought that was very, very interesting.
It's very new too.
Yeah.
And yet the New York Times had their guy, what I forget I'll remember his name as soon as I no longer need to.
Of course.
Yeah, right. On the front page the other day, basically blowing it all off. I read the story and it didn't quite say Santa Claus, but it came as close to that as they could without sounding condescending.
Well, you know, and they need
Julian
to be
Barnes
very,
is his name.
yeah. Oh, Julian. Screw Julian. Dude's an idiot.
Well, yeah, he's
Julian.
the go-to guy in this. He's a front
Yeah,
page.
yeah. Julian has twisted. I don't want to waste airtime on Julian, but Julian has twisted this subject around and misrepresented it way too many times. And
he is their go-to guy. Do you see Leslie Kane's byline on there anymore? I don't.
Or Ralph Blumenthal.
Or Ralph? You do not see him.
No, it's a good point.
But you do see the byline of this man.
Yahoo. Yeah. Yahoo. He should write for Yahoo. That's what he should do. But but here is the other part of this, though, which I just find fascinating, is the legacy media, where if there is a driver from behind the scenes, that could be from the CIA's media division, or something else trying to steer this in it's failing on all fronts. It's not working.
The drones won't go away.
No, the drones.
They're basically disclosing themselves. They're forcing the hand.
Here's the other problem with that. So to make a joke about Santa Claus, like Julian Barnes undoubtedly would, you can't make a joke about Santa Claus in this issue when a Chinese national just got caught filming out of Vandenberg Space Force Base and then arrested at LAX boarding a flight to China after he got caught. Explain that to me. Wright Patterson getting shut down for 4 hours on Friday and Saturday this past weekend.
Right. Exactly.
Boston Logan Airport, Ramstein Air Force Base, right? No, Julian Barnes, you can't make jokes about Santa Claus when these types of issues are going on, and it gives an opportunity with all of this flare up for people with bad intentions to be able to hide in the smoke. They can hide in the fog and go and get something done.
Well, if the origin of this is the beings that I call the visitors, this is not the end. I have a reel up on my YouTube channel about this, and also a story on a blog on my website on unknowncountry.com. And oddly enough, the book I'm publishing, which you will see an arc of advanced reading copy of in a day or so, that's coming out next month, The Fourth Mind, doesn't directly deal with the drones, but it deals with this whole subject in a way that it almost seems like it seems very connected to what's happening right now. Let me put it that way.
Whitley, can I just take the time to say thank you, not only for being a friend and being a part of this show from the beginning, but just thank you for your contributions to humanity in our community. And you provoke thought, and you just project it so well. So just thank you, man.
Well, thank you too. I thank you for listening, and thank you for being who you are and getting out there, doing this, and doing such a beautiful job night after night. It's fabulous.
Yeah, thank you, Whitley. And listen, the invitation is in the mail, and I'll look for my advanced copy of The Fourth Mind too as well. And I can't wait to get you back on the show, and let's have a real chat.
Let's do it.
Thank you, Whitley. Whitley Strieber, everybody, helping me celebrate our 11th anniversary. Whitley, you're the very best, man. Be safe out there. Yeah. Whitley Strieber, man. Unknowncountry.com. You guys know where to go. I have said this so many times over the years when it comes to Whitley. I used to listen to Whitley in the dark, right? I'd listen to Whitley and listen to his interviews, and the way that he would have conversations with his fellow researchers and friends and stuff. And I thought to myself, if I can grow up and have a conversation like that with a guest, I'm a winner. And I really mean that. And you really owe it to yourself to go over to Unknown Country and hit the archives and become a member and subscribe and just go and listen to those conversations that Whitley has been doing for decades, and he's got it all up over there at Unknown Country. Tonight we are celebrating our 11th year on the air. We are now 12 years into this. It is an AMA AJA all night long. Surprise guests coming and going. And let's see what's next. AMA, tell me what food you tried in Peru. Ceviche. I had ceviche every single day and night. I had it for lunch. I had it for dinner. Yeah, no, I didn't have any guinea pig. And that, I'm going to be honest with you, that really freaked me out. Why were you gifted a toilet seat? I don't have the answer to that, but I was gifted a toilet seat. It was autographed, and I never got an answer. I didn't ask why a toilet seat. It was just too unique of a gift to receive, and then I'm not going to turn around and try to figure. I don't want the answer. It was just too cool. What show went off the rails most unexpectedly? That's from Dire Wolf. Dire Wolf and I were just in Peru together. What's up, Dire? It's Dire Wolf. What show went off the rails most unexpectedly? Probably the time Linda Moulton Howe came on the show and told us about her experience of Jimi Hendrix and a bottle of lotion. Yeah, that went off the rails. Have you been to Skinwalker Ranch or Oak Island? I have not been to either. I have been invited to both, and I'm going to try to knock out one or both in 2025. Jimmy, can you give some insight on how your following audience grew, how it started, and what went through your mind in the beginning of all of this? Okay, that's 15 questions, and that would take at least an hour to answer all of those. But I'll say this. In the very beginning of Fade to Black, it's very important for people to learn this, okay? And I'm going to give this advice to my next guest, too, as well, who is in the green room listening and watching right now. I see you. I see. Is this: do the show for you. Write the song for you. Paint the picture. Paint the painting for you. You're not painting a painting for somebody else's take. No, it's a personal thing you're putting on that canvas. All right? The song. It's a personal thing, your heartbreak, your happiness, whatever it is, but that's your personal thing. Same thing with the show. The show is about you. If people find it interesting, they're going to listen, they're going to resonate. It's the same thing with your painting. If they're going to connect with it, they're going to connect. Some people don't connect. They walk past the painting and never take a second look. It's the same thing with the show. People may listen. If they connect right away, they don't, they'll never come back. All right. And that's do the show for you. The second you start to think to yourself, I need to do this for this part of the audience. I need to make this group happy. I need to try. How you can't make everybody. No, you know who you need to make happy? Yourself. Just be yourself, and that's it. So when I answer a question like that, my audience, look, I started off with an audience of one a long time ago, man. This is 2008. Fade to Black, this is 11, 12 years of doing this, but I did other stuff too before that. And so that's the secret. The secret is it seems so obvious. I wanted to do a show that I talked about the things that bring me joy, that catch my interest. A great hamburger, you got my attention. I'll talk about it. Funny movie, good science fiction film, TV series, you got my attention. I'll talk about it. Great album, great guitar player, great music. You got my attention. I'll talk about it. Great comedian. I'll talk, right? Great UFO story. I'll talk about it. UFO breaking news. I'll talk about it. Life after death, physics, science, right? A good hot sauce. If I can talk about all of that in one show, I'm happy. I'm happy. That's lifting the mask. That's it. That's what I do on this show. So I just had on tonight, I had Whitley Strieber on, I had Jason Quitt on, and I had Richard Dolan on. All of those conversations that I had back to back to back are just conversations. That's it. I'm not worried about what people think, what people want to hear, what people are going to say after they hear it. I don't give a crap. I don't read it. I don't care. I don't. I do what makes me happy. And you know that. You know that. What you're going to get here is honesty, no bullshit, no mask or anything. All right? It's that simple. That's the secret. And that's who my audience is. All right? All right. I don't give a crap. I'm old. You know what? I'm old. I wish I was young again. If I could be thrust upon a time machine, right? And we all dream about this. I don't dream about it as much anymore, but let's say if I would dream about it, what would I do? What would I do? I would go back and I would be just like Christina Gomez. That's what I would do. I would be just like Christina Gomez. That's what I would do. I missed the boat. I missed the boat, Christina. I missed the boat. I should have been doing what I'm doing now when I was 20 years old. And
he should have bought a house when you were 8, at least when the market was good, right?
Yeah, I know. And Apple stock. I should have bought Apple stock. But yeah, it's kind of funny. I wouldn't. Thank you, Christina, for being here. Thank you for just being a part of the community and everything that you do. I'm just so appreciative, not only about the things that we're able to do with our shows and our projects and the stuff that we do, but the way that you have evolved and changed and matured over the last few years. It's just been really fun for me to sit back and watch this and watch you grow. So just thank you. Thank you. All right. Just thank you. Now, with that, we're celebrating tonight 11 years. Do you remember? Okay, we've never met. We've only met virtually, right? We've never met.
Right.
Do you remember? I kind of do, and I think I've got this nailed. Do you remember how we met?
I do. So to give people a preface, I was already a fan of Fade to Black before meeting Jimmy. And I used to work for the Debrief, and we have a mutual friend being Micah Hanks.
Right.
And he was actually the glue that got us to end up doing shows together. And one day I was like, hey, Jimmy, I'm a big fan of your work. Do you want to do this show with me? Like really testing the waters, right? I was ambitious. And Jimmy was like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. That was 3 years ago. And
I don't know if that's accurate. I don't know if that's accurate. Okay. Well, see, you have a young mind. It's fresh, and you remember stuff better than me. This is what I remember. Okay. Or maybe you're just not telling the whole story and you do remember, but this is what I remember. I remember watching, because I would read the debrief every day. And back then, what was going on with the original UAP task force and what was happening back then. And the pandemic was going on. And I just broke out on my own. I remember that. And I was up in Northern California for about 4 or 5 months before I made it back here to Palmdale. So I'm up there and I was shooting a movie and I was doing a TV show at the same time. There was all this stuff and Fade to Black and the task force and the report is coming out and Elizondo and all this stuff is going on. So I was watching and reading the debrief every single day, right? And calling up Micah and so forth. But I was watching you and you were doing like the news, the debrief news or something once a week.
That's
right.
That's right. And it was hard. I'm not even going to lie.
So
difficult.
I'm watching that. Well, listen, let's check this out. I'm watching. I'm like, who is? She's pretty good. She's pretty good. Okay. I see what's going on here. So I called up Micah and I said, I want Christina on the show as a guest. And Micah's like, well, okay. Can you put me in touch? I think she would be a good guest. And you turned me down. You're like, no, I'm not ready for it. And I asked, so that's the truth. That's the truth. And I couldn't talk you into being a guest on Fade to Black. And I tried that for like 2 or 3 months. Now say, yes, Jimmy, that's how we met. You are right. I turned you down for 3 months.
That's close. That's close. Let's back it up. Okay. So when I was working for the debrief, I was and still am, number one, an introvert, but also I wasn't comfortable doing interviews because I didn't feel like super familiar with the topic enough to hold conversations on it in detail. And so you were definitely one of the few, I was like the first like 5 people to reach out and be like, hey, you want to be on my show? And I'm thinking, that's so out of my comfort zone.
And well, you said to me, I could probably pop the email up on the screen. I could probably find it. You said, nobody cares about my opinion. I don't even know if I have an opinion. That's what you said. I was like, well, I can't argue with that. I mean, if that's the position that she feels that she's in, then that's it. Yeah. So that was the beginning. But here you are now. Christina, I can't stop you from being opinionated. You got opinions on everything. Yeah,
true. No, I bring in the information and the data and the facts and the resources or the sources. It's not just opinion, but I do speculate.
You do.
Now,
you never speculated before. Yeah, you never did before, but now it's pretty fun to see. It's pretty fun to see. What do you? So here's.
I had some help from somebody. Actually, right here on screen, helped me a lot. Actually, one of the best pieces of advice that you've given me, and I mentioned this a few times, is your next show is always going to be better than your last. And also, don't watch your other shows. They're going to suck. And whenever I watch them, I just cringe. And I'm like, I can't do this. I literally cannot watch myself. Because I see all my flaws and faults. And I'm like, man.
It's so, most people don't realize or don't know about how painful it is to see yourself.
How was it, Jimmy? How was it to watch your episodes of Into the Vortex? Did you sit and did you watch them, or you're
I've never seen them.
I lived it. I lived it. I don't have to watch it.
Never seen them. Never seen them. Not even one. No, I refuse to do that, and I have my own reasons for not watching them. But no, and look, I get that question all the time. Hey, man, that episode of Into the Vortex, when you said, I was like, I don't know. I don't have a count. What do you mean? I've never seen it. What did I say? Well, you said blah blah blah. Okay, well then, yeah, I stick by it. It's a live show, and no, I cannot and will not watch myself. No, I can't. And with happy anniversary, Jimmy. Drink some shots or dinner, Baracoa. Right on, man. Thank you, brother. Ken Priest.
Well, Jimmy, I
Yeah.
know it's an AMA today, and I actually have some questions that I want to ask you. May I?
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. What has to be one of the funniest technical malfunctions or like an on-air mishap that you experienced on your show Fade to Black?
Technical malfunction that happened on the air. Oh man. There's been so many. Yeah. Why couldn't you give me this question in advance so I could have thought about this just a little bit? A technical malfunction.
Or just like anything, like any mishap that's happened during any of your shows over the last 11 years, like one that really sticks out to you the most.
I spilled hot chocolate on my mixing console.
No.
Yeah, and this was live on the air, and I remember I can't remember who the guest was, or maybe I didn't have a guest. That part doesn't matter. But I had a full hot chocolate with whipped cream going across the top and hot and chocolate drizzle over there. It was so good. And I had just taken a sip. And this is before I ran video. Okay, so this was just audio. This was radio days.
Like the very beginning when you first started.
I didn't start running video, man, until the pandemic. So, and that was 4 years ago. So there was good 7-8 years of no video on the show. Anyway, and I never ran video at Coast to Coast, so that was always just radio. Anyway, I'm putting the cup down and it hits. See, right now my microphone is on a stand that's like this and mounted over here to the side. But I used to pull it down. Remember that? I pull it down.
I do, yes.
Right. So the microphone is right here. And I went and I'm talking on the air and I take a sip of the coffee or the hot chocolate and it bumps the microphone, flips out of my hand and goes goosh, whipped cream and all across the top of the console. And I'm watching it and it drains into the faders and I'm on the air and I watched the VU meter peg. Like everything is shorting out on the board and I'm still talking and I go and I pulled down everything's full of hot chocolate and I take the fader and I'm moving it up and down to kind of clean it. And so my volume is going, and I'm still talking, and I kind of get it down to where it was normal. And I went to commercial, and anyway, the point is,
the commercial ended up being the end of the show.
No, I got through the show. I did. Here's the deal. After I finished the show, I have a cleaner, which I keep it. I have spray. Anyway, I'm spraying it in there and I'm cleaning it out. The next day, Jimmy, you're a real troublemaker. Okay, that's from Michelle, my producer. Yeah, that's good. She says she can't sleep now because of what I told her earlier today. I'm good at that. I can get inside of people's heads. So the next day, Christina, I wake up. And I go in and I turn on and it won't turn on. It won't turn on. It's like it had soaked in and fried out. And I had another board leaning against the wall. I pulled that out. I plugged that in. But yeah, hot chocolate. It reminds me of, there was I think it was a scene on Saturday Night Live. It was the spilling of the Coke. Okay, you don't know. It's way before your time. Anyway, there are people laughing right now like, yeah, I remember that. But it was like that. It was, okay, you said you had questions. What's the other one?
Okay, I have another one. I got these prepared for today.
Okay.
These are all fun questions, though. Okay.
Okay.
So if aliens offered you to take you on a galactic road trip, what 3 items from Earth would you pack with you?
I would take my autographed DV collection of Mysteries with a History. I would take that for sure. That would definitely get
You
packed
still
up.
get it backwards. It's like you have
Oh, did I?
dyslexia or
Well,
something.
see, you know,
It's like
it's
3.5
Mandela
years.
effect. Well, my version of it that I have on DVD. Okay, so what would I take with me? I would have to take some music. I would have to take some food. We'll nail that down in a second. And I think it would have to be photographs or video of memories of here. So that's what I would take, right? So, you would have to have pictures of your family, of your kids, right? Some videos, some memory. You'd have to take. How could you not? Right? So there would be that. It, what's the all-around catch-all food?
Ketchup.
Pizza.
Just kidding. Oh,
Pizza.
yes.
It'd
Ramen.
have to be pizza. It would.
Ramen.
Not a burger. I would get tired of burgers, but would you ever get tired of pizza? Nah. No.
Pineapple on pizza?
Yeah. Well, I'm all down with that. Yeah, I'm
All
down.
right.
I'm down. But and then it would have to be. It would either be Van Halen or Frank Zappa. That
And what
I
would be
would
the
take with
one song? If you could only bring one song, what would it be? To
Mm,
show extraterrestrials like the culture here, like your favorite song.
yeah, probably Unchained by Van Halen.
I don't know that song. How does it go?
Oh no, you don't want. What's cool about that song is the opening guitar riff. Yeah, it's a great song. And it's got a great. You can kind of tap your feet to it. It's kind of got a good beat, and you can kind of groove to it. Yeah, I would say Unchained by Van Halen. Dance the Night Away by Van Halen would be really good. Mean Street by Van Halen would be really good. Women in Love would be really good. So yeah. I mean, anything off of Van Halen too, apparently. But yeah, Unchained by Van Halen, I think represents humanity in general. I think that the Earth would be okay with Unchained representing the planet.
Now I have to listen to it because it's not. I don't know the song.
Really?
Oh,
Well,
I don't
I
know if we
see.
can't play it. No, we
No,
can't
I
play it.
can't
Okay.
play it. I can't play it.
Yeah.
Okay, next question.
Okay, well, you already answered my other one. I was gonna ask you, what one song you wanted to bring that represents Earth, but my next question is, what's the most unexpected place a fan or a listener recognized you? Was it like in a public bathroom, at a gas station, at a certain restaurant, the grocery store?
I've had all that happen. Yeah, I've had all that happen.
All of them?
Yeah, I've had, well, not restroom. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Yeah, grocery store, restaurant, the street, a shopping mall, airplanes. Yeah, pretty much everywhere.
And did they
Yeah.
stop you? And what's like the first thing that they tell you when they see you in person?
Okay, hang on. So Lisa Reed, who's probably listening right now, I get out of the house. It's after the show, and I'm driving to Tommy's for chili cheeseburgers after the show. And I'm driving, and Lisa calls. So I've got her on speakerphone, and we're just chatting about this and that, blah, 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 blah. Where are you going? I said, I'm going to Tommy's chili burgers. Oh, man, sounds so good. I know, man. So I pull up to Tommy's, and I've got her on speakerphone. I order Tommy's chili cheeseburger, chili cheese fries, root beer. I got a root beer. And I pull up to the window and I'm talking to Lisa. Man, I said, man, Tommy's. Yeah, I love Tommy's. Yeah, yeah. And the window opens and the lady says, excuse me. I said, yeah. Are you Jimmy Church? And Lisa is listening on the speakerphone, right? And I go, yeah. She goes, you do live in Palmdale. I go, yeah. We were just talking. There's no way that you really lived in Palmdale. You were making it up. I go, no, it's all good. She goes, can I call my mom right now? Can you say hi to my mom? I go, yeah. Can I take a selfie? And Lisa, who's listening on the speakerphone, she goes, this is a bunch of bullshit. You're faking this. Right? And I go, Lisa, no. She goes, this is a set. I go, and meanwhile, she was so sweet too. The girl that's working at In-N-Out, or I mean Tommy's, she's like posing, right, for the selfie, right, like this with me. Gets her mom on the phone, right, and I do this whole thing. She goes, "Oh my God, that's free." Yeah, so it happens. I know it sounds strange, but it happens. It's like weird, and I'm not. Here's the crazy part. This is the truth. I'm not Will Smith, right? I'm not Kevin Hart. I'm not Matt Damon. I'm not any, I'm not. I've got this little thing that I do with our community where I happen to be, a little bit popular. I get that. But our community is bigger than we know. It's bigger than we know. And so Richard Dolan's got the same issues, man. Billy Carson's got the same issues. Linda Moulton Howe, Giorgio Tsoukalos,
Giorgio is he is the meme.
But it's really true, yeah, you're right about that. It's but am I Ben Affleck? No, man.
Who's that anyway?
Ben Affleck?
I'm kidding.
Oh, okay. See, I don't know with
or
you.
Am I?
Yeah,
no, I also don't know.
Yeah, you can get away with that. You could bullshit your way through that, man, and I would take it. Yes. Yeah, finish. You were going to say something. Wow, that was a quick clam up. What is it about your quest for answers where does the drive come from? And I want the real answer and not some generic political answer. Where does the drive come from, Christina?
Well, I was going to say caffeine, but obviously that's not the right answer here.
Mm-mm.
So the genuine answer would be, I just want to know. I'm just curious. And we need more people asking these kinds of questions as to what's going on. But I think deep down, it gives me this level of validation that there's something more out there than the mundane lives that we live, of having to go to work, having to pay the bills, all these different things that seem so lackluster, that have no color or spice to them. When we're looking at this topic, looking beyond our planet into our galaxy, into our universe, and thinking of the possibilities of life out there, it makes life worth living, worth investigating, doing the research. And that's a big reason to why I do it.
Yeah, it's a good answer.
One of many reasons.
Yeah, there's obviously it's a multifaceted answer. But I kind of I parallel those reasons too as well. This is something that I have been interested in and drawn to for nearly my entire life. Now, this isn't something that started with the New York Times in 2017, obviously.
Right.
And yeah, it's just always been there for me. And knowing now what I knew then, which was driving around, and I'm talking about when I was 18 years old, 17, 18, 19, 20 years old, thinking about being on the radio and talking about, and this is this is 20 years, 30 years before Art Bell, right? This is before, of that, but I just had this thing. Maybe it was, what was that movie with Eric, that Armenian dude? He was the late night talk radio guy that gets killed. Eric Bogosian, I think that's his name. That movie really freaked me out because I wanted to do that. I wanted to be in a dark studio at midnight going, all right, line number 2, somebody has a ghost in their bedroom, right? And just go and talk. I wanted to be that guy. I wanted to be, that. And I just thought, what a cool gig, because I feel like I have something to say and that it's interesting to me. So it's got to be interesting to somebody else. I mean, at least one person, and that's it. And so here I am doing it. Yeah. It's pretty cool. And I never thought that it would happen.
Do you feel like do you feel like you achieved your initial goal, or do you feel like you still have somewhere to reach to?
No, I'm done. I'm happy. No, I've done everything. What else can I do in the sphere that I haven't done?
You tell me.
I've done everything. I've done network television. I've done films. I've done radio. I host the conferences. I've seen the world. No, I've gone way beyond what those expectations, so I'm just happy, and I'm able to hopefully project that happiness that I'm content. Now, have I gotten the answers? No, I'm still driven to that. I need to get to the, I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm getting closer, just like we all are every single day. But as far as the need to do something or the drive to go and figure out what that is like to go and do something like that, I've done all that. I've done it all. And I love it. It's an honor and a privilege, but no, my thing, if there's going to be a closing chapter in the book, it's to get these final answers for the community and for the world, for myself. If I get the answers, then everybody else does, right? And that's what I need to do.
So kind of like have a near-death experience kind of deal.
If you want to,
you could do that.
You
that could be like your next step.
I've already done that too as well. Yeah, I've done that. I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've done that. I've seen UFOs. I got tattoos. You know what I mean? What's there left? What's left is getting the answers, and we are close. We are close, and I'm gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it. I'm so close. I know stuff, and I just need to just like tighten down a few screws here and there, and yeah, all hell could break loose. So, and we'll see. Somebody, Chris, who moderates the fan page and does some other work for me. Chris, he's amazing. He went to Chat GPT, Christina, and he did two things. He asked Chat GPT to write a story about Jimmy Church meeting ET or something like that. And I posted it. Have you seen it? Did you read it?
I haven't seen it.
It's in the fan group. Go. It's on my, just go.
Okay, I'll look at it.
The story it's pretty good. It's pretty good, but it's the detail about Fade to Black that Chat GPT pulled out, and how they did that, and some catchphrases. Pretty interesting. It's a good little short story. And then he went, oh, I forgot to mention this to Dolan tonight. And then he said he asked Chat GPT to write a screenplay about Jimmy Church and Richard Dolan and Disclosure.
Ooh.
And it's good. I mean, I gotta admit, man, Chat GPT is pretty good. So to have the background of Richard and how they have that in there, and then me, he's an author and a researcher, right? And then me being the late night talk show host at Fade to Black, and this journey that we go on together, and fight them aliens, man. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty good. So when and I go and I see that, and what it forces me to do as we wind this show down, and thank you, Christina, for taking the time tonight. We've had a very busy day today. Chat GPT is scrubbing the internet for information and to put these ideas together. And that's the part where, because it's all a blur, this last 10, 12, 15 years of doing radio, it's all a blur. Everything is run into each other. You just kind of forget things. And then you see how Chat GPT puts it together. It's like, man, that Jimmy Church guy is pretty interesting. That's a pretty interesting guy. That Dolan dude, I'm too close to Dolan. I'm too close to Richard. And then you go and you read how Chat GPT puts him together, and you realize it gives you a different perspective. So yeah, you should go and check it out. It's pretty interesting. It's a pretty interesting read. Christina,
I'll look at it.
Just thank you. Okay, thank you. It's great working with you. You've just made everything so much fun and everything else. So just keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for making tonight special and helping us close out tonight. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here and helping us celebrate 11 years of Fade to Black. You're the very best. And I mean that.
Thank you so much. And congratulations on the 11th year.
Christina Gomez, everybody. Christina Gomez, you know where to find her. She's on social media more than I'm going to say them Kardashians. You've got it dialed. So just go and check out all of Christina's work. And of course, her and I co-host her show, Mysteries with a History, every Thursday. All right, Christina, thank you so much. Oh, what's your new news channel? What's it called?
Oh, yes. So I have a new UFO website keeping you up to date on all the latest international UFO news, completely ad-free, no spamming. It's called ufonews.co, as in C-O. Type it up, bookmark it. This way you are just always up to date, because it's a website that's an aggregate for all these other news outlets. You can find it just UFO news all in one place. It's great. I hope you like it. It's called ufonews.co. Don't forget to bookmark it. Jimmy, thank you so much. I will see you soon. Bye.
Thank you, Christina. Enjoy your weekend. Bye. There you go. Fade to Black. We are wrapping not only another week, but we're wrapping another year. Tonight was our 11th anniversary celebration. I want to thank Jason Quitt for coming in, Richard Dolan for coming in, Whitley Strieber coming in, and of course, Christina Gomez. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Now, it is my Friday. It is indeed your Thursday. It's my Friday. I'm going to go kick off my weekend. I want everybody to enjoy yourself. Have a great time. We'll see you right back here on Monday. Until then, go Beckley Tappy. Fade to Black is produced by Hilton J. Palm, Renee Newman, and Michelle Freed. Special thanks to Bill, John, Dex, Jessica, Dennis, and Kevin. Webmaster is Drew the Geek. Music by Doug Aldrich. Intro, Space Boy. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2024 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network, Inc. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Go Beckley Tappy.